The Highgate Vampire was a media sensation surrounding reports of supposed supernatural activity at the cemetery in London in the 1970s. A group of young people interested in the occult visited the cemetery in the late 1960s, a time when it was being vandalized by intruders. On the night of Halloween 1968, a graveyard desecration by persons unknown occurred at Tottenham Park Cemetery in London. These persons arranged flowers taken from graves in circular patterns with arrows of blooms pointing to a new grave which was uncovered. A coffin was opened and the body inside disturbed. A stake in the form of a cross was drove through the breast of the corpse. Though the identities and motivations of those responsible were never ascertained, general consensus at the time linked the desecration to events surrounding the Highgate Vampire. On the 6th of February 1970, David Farrant wrote that when passing the cemetery on the 24th of December 1969, he had glimpsed a grey figure which he considered to be supernatural, and asked if others had seen anything similar. On the 13th, several people replied, describing a variety of ghosts said to haunt the cemetery or the adjoining Swains Lane. These ghosts were described as tall men in a hat, a spectral cyclist, a woman in white, a face glaring through the bars of a gate, a figuring wading into a pond, a pale gliding form, bells ringing and voices calling. Some months later, on August 1970, the charred and headless remains of a woman's body were found not far from the catacomb. The police suspected that it had been used in black magic. A few days later, Manchester returned to Highgate Cemetery. He claims that this time he and his companions forced open the doors of a family vault. He says he lifted the lid of one coffin, believing it to have been mysteriously transferred there from a previous catacomb. He was about to drive a stake through the body it contained when a companion persuaded him to desist. Reluctantly, he shut the coffin, leaving garlic and incense in the vault. Another theory to the Highgate Vampire is Bishop Sean Manchester, who tells his own versions of events.
What does a vampire look like? You speak, or you have spoken about the famous, what you describe as the famous Highgate Vampire. Briefly, I know it's a very long and involved story, because I discussed it with you before, but briefly, what did the Highgate Vampire involve and look like?
Well, the Highgate Vampire, when I first looked upon it in its tomb in the Lebanon Circle in the centre of the old Highgate Cemetery, looked like a several-day-old corpse, and had in fact been resting for some century or so. Not in Highgate Cemetery, but it had been in the cemetery for about a century, but it was some centuries older than that. But in fact it looked like, I suppose, a 3-day-old corpse. And I realized that this wasn't a being as we know it, either dead or alive. This was a demonic form, a manifestation from the dark world of the devil.
Mm-hmm. Why did you realize that? What made you think it was a vampire and not just a 3-day-old corpse?
Because it could leave its tomb without displacing anything. It could manifest.
Did you see it doing that?
It was witnessed by many residents, passers-by, by many people in the general area. On one occasion when it was by the North Gate and the headlights of a car dissolved it. It passed through the iron railings with no problem. A corporeal body or a living person can't do these things.
So there we have it, guys. We have two stories from David Farrant and Bishop Sean Manchester of London, who shared their experiences of the vampire of Highgate Cemetery. Who knows who walks the cemetery of Highgate at night, who lurks behind a dark, shadowed corner. But it's certainly something to look into. And the story and legend of the Highgate Vampire. Does he rest in the vaults of Highgate Cemetery, or is this just fiction? You be the judge of the Highgate Vampire. If you liked the video of the legend of the Highgate Vampire, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up and hit the notification bell. Until the next time, we'll share more cemetery stories.